You are listening to Guilty as Charged, 25 Crimes That Have Shaken Singapore Since 1965. Edited by Abdul Hafiz Abdul Samad and narrated by me, Chris Alexander. 1965. The Sunny Ang Trial. He thought he had committed the perfect murder when his girlfriend disappeared at sea. Sunny Ang Su Suan was from a middle-class family. Smart, but reckless. In 1957, he quit training to be a teacher to take up a government scholarship to become a commercial pilot. But he was kicked out because he ignored safety regulations. He took part in the 1961 Singapore Grand Prix, a tourism event at the Old Thompson Road circuit. But he was soon arrested for negligent driving after killing a pedestrian. Then he was put on probation after trying to burgle in 1962. The same year, he started studying for a law degree, but was made a bankrupt. Ms. Jenny Cheok Cheng Kid was a waitress at Odeon Bar and Restaurant in Northbridge Road, having studied until Primary 3. She was paid $90 a month, her main source of income, the $10 she earned each day in tips from customers. She already had 2 children who lived with a husband whom she married according to Chinese rituals. They later separated. When she and Ang met in 1963, he was 24, she was 22. He was suave and educated. She was naive and simple, and flattered by the attention he gave her. She fell completely under his spell. On August 27th, 1963, just a few months after they met, she disappeared during a diving trip near the Sisters Islands. All that remained was a single flipper worn by her. It had been severed cleanly at the top and bottom, likely by a sharp instrument such as a knife or razor blade. An expert witness would later tell the court during Ang's murder trial that the loss of a flipper would have resulted in a diver's loss of equilibrium and affected the person's mobility. Ms. Cheok, an inexperienced diver, would have panicked and inevitably drowned in the strong currents swirling around the islands. Suspicion was cast on Ang, a skilled diver who conveniently stood to gain from the insurance policies he began buying for Miss Cheok shortly after they met. In April 1965, one of Singapore's strangest and most sensational murder trials began, one in which the prosecution's case was based entirely on circumstantial evidence. Prosecutor Francis T. Seo, in his opening statement, said, quote, "This is an unusual case insofar as Singapore, or for that matter Malaysia, is concerned. This is the first case of its kind to be tried in our courts that there is no body." End quote. But he insisted that the notion of a person could not be charged with murder when the victim's body had not or could not be found was simply wrong, because that meant crafty killers would be able to get away scot-free by getting rid of the body. It only meant that the prosecution's burden of proof was higher. The circumstantial evidence. The insurance policies. When Ms. Cheok disappeared, her accident coverage amounted to $400,000. The payouts were meant to go to either Ang's mother or Miss Cheok's estate. 3 weeks before she disappeared, Ang took his girlfriend to make a will, leaving her entire estate to his mother, whom she hardly knew. A day before her disappearance, one of her policies expired. 3 hours before the diving trip, which would cost her her life, Ang extended that policy
Sample complete. Ready to continue?